Bonk and Olaf now banned away. Griffin does still have counterpick, and
there's nothing stopping them from just taking the Nocturne Galio combination here. I mean, they've got so much pile-in and lockdown to come in from both of these champions, and if you imagine, like, you special delivery a hero's entrance into the backline, and Yasuo gets to pick his poison with where he wants to go, as that's the lock-in on the Sejuani, and Cassiopeia made her way all the way through this draft. She's taken a few hits, base damage on Q being the biggest one. Miasma getting nerfed is a bit of a meme, but at least losing some damage off the Q does mean that she's not first ban status anymore, but still not representing as much power, and she's been losing more than she's been winning.
Yeah. And I do believe Griffin has actually been the executioner of her sometimes, when she has gotten through.
Viper the Jin series is one that comes to mind with Grace getting punished very hard as Sword. Think about the last pick, Yorick, and is going to lock it in. Beautiful stuff.
Well, so that is going to end up being, I believe, a Yasuo bottom lane. Or is that going to be Yorick?
Nah, it should be Yasuo with the Galio bot lane. Yorick on the top side of the map, picked into the Urgot pretty comfortably. And you've got Lissandra there for Chovy, wanting to get his roam on, wanting to get things done. And I love this composition from Griffin. I just feel like the pieces of this puzzle work together so nicely. And if you're going to go split because you don't have an AD carry, having a Yorick on your team who can just bring up the Maiden and send her down a lane if he wants to is certainly a great way to make a 4-1 composition. Like 1-3-1 is also something that you can utilize relatively effectively if the Yasuo gets ahead. So Griffin with a very different take on this game in comparison to game number 1, and certainly a lot more to talk about as far as compositions this time.
Yeah, and we'll take another quick look at the comp before we jump into the game. Urgot, Sejuani, Cassiopeia, Ezreal, and Braum. They definitely they certainly have a lot of scaling available to them. And they also has massive power spikes at the 2-item mark across the board for these champions, and that's when they want to explode. And these laners, they can definitely get aggressive. They can look for solo kills and get it. But on the flip side, for Griffin, they have a little bit of a different approach to the game. All of these champions get very oppressive and scary at 1 item. Also, equally, they can look for some aggression inside of the laning phase. This is a completely different phase compared to game number 1, where it's a gentleman's agreement, where both teams are just going to sort of sit back and do nothing. I mean, the Nocturne might do that, but for the most part, the laners shouldn't be.
Yeah, and I feel like this is different as far as where the game state is going to be in the early game, because now it's Nocturne playing around a lot of priority in the lanes, and let's see how it goes as we're hitting Summoner's Rift for game 2. Griffin fans in full voice today as Lehens has discovered an Afreeca Freecs squad. Of course, going for an invade against the old Braum has been an age-old tale of woe for a lot of teams. And we're spotting aiming. He is going for the Frostfang to start things off. So Jelly is going to be able to get some farming on. We're going to have a Braum with a whole bunch of cash money at the beginning of this game.
This is going to be interesting for aiming. Accelerating the Braum, I wonder how effective that's going to be. He's not a champion that really changes too much depending on how many items he has.
No. He'll get tankier.
Nice.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, all right. Awesome.
Hey, he might be able to build some more utility items. Might have a Knight's Vow earlier on in this game, you know?
That actually could be quite helpful for the way that Griffin wants to team fight later on. But with the teleport available on Ezreal and whatnot, I don't think that we'll end up seeing too many split push shenanigans, especially because of Afreeca's blue side, so...
Alright, we're going to go straight in with the Justice Punch first from Lehens. Okay, just waits it out. Does have, of course, the Aftershock. Able to keep the Galio alive for an extended period of time, as now got Griffin. They're going to pile into this minion wave, and...
Aiming was actually doing a really bad job of taking minion aggro right here. He's losing a lot of HP just to the spellcasters, so this is a little bit interesting. They're getting shoved in underneath that turret really quickly and taking noticeable amounts of damage.
Yep, Jelly farming things out. It's always confusing to see, but at least someone's farming in this lane. It's not the full Frostmancy scenario, as, guys, this is something that we will be seeing after the hotfix comes in. Remember, it is just proximity to a teammate that stops that one from working out, so it's solo lane Frostmancy that's the problem in this duo lane. We may see this cropping up here and there, especially with Ezreal's being picked up. Sword on the top side up against Kane. What do you think about the Yorick versus the Urgot matchup? I feel like it will work okay for the Yorick, but I don't know as much as you about how these things work.
So the Yorick Urgot has been going on for a little while now in Korea for solo queue and also scrimmages. And Urgot definitely has solo kill potential on Yorick, but it's such a weird dynamic. If Yorick ends up getting ahead, Urgot can never salvage the lane, which isn't always the case for some other matchups that he can encounter. But if Urgot ends up getting ahead, Yorick still has the gank assistance that's available to him, and obviously the Maiden can certainly be a nuisance. And so it's sort of a similar dynamic with Jace in a way, except Urgot can't recover at all.
Right, okay, so it's just a little bit more do or die for the Urgot. Okay, we'll see where the Sword navigates it. At the moment, you can see Keen with a relative advantage, and we know that Keen can play these laning phases out very aggressively. Oh man, having to use the Arcane Shift to get himself out of the taunt range. And having a look at that bottom lane, I mean, Griffin was just smashing it, pushing, aiming, and Jelly in over and over again. Jelly doing his best to keep things farmed up underneath this turret as aiming wants to try and get harassed, but right now I haven't seen too many of these Klepto procs coming in. The Spell Thief has been denied by a lot of these wind walls from Viper. Finally, he's going to get tagged up there by aiming.
Still relatively even on gold, so at least they have that going for them. And certainly Ezreal's Kleptomancy helping out considerably.
Yeah, looking into the jungle as well, I mean, Spirit doesn't seem to have been punished quite as badly as he was on the Skarner. Of course, a lot more agency on the Sejuani a little bit earlier on. But Tarzan's just power farming, and will have parity on camps with Spirit now, as Spirit's going to walk over some vision. And Keen actually going to flash over the Dark Procession. All right, Sword. Going to get slowed down. The Purge not going to offer too much damage forward. And that was just a flash.
Yeah, I'm not sure you're going to... Yeah, you keep talking.
All right.
I'm not...
There's a visual bug, guys, and Keen's flash is now on cooldown. Nothing just happened up there. Yeah, look, I don't know either. I don't know either, LS, but he pressed a button, and damn, it looked cool, you know? He was chasing up, and cut the video after that, and you're like, look at this aggression from Keen. Oh, great to see.
This is really scary now, because Nocturne's going to end up hitting level 6 when Keen still will not have the flash available to him, and that's going to definitely be something that Keen's going to have to keep on his mind, and I can't see top lane, but it looks like...
Oh, we can see bottom lane as Jelly's burning down. Viper wants to get another one, but doesn't find it. Steel Tempest not there. Jelly will walk out. Another Dark Procession up top, as Sword does have teleport to get himself back into this lane, as the back is going to come through. Aiming was body blocking, just so that there weren't any stray winds of war or anything like that. As this bottom lane for the Afreeca Freecs is going to hell in a handbasket very, very quickly.
And so far,
Chovy in trouble.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that Q got nerfed, by the way, guys.
Cassiopeia is definitely a force still to be reckoned with. And normally, I mean, she does still get banned on red side occasionally. Although sometimes teams do allow her through. Griffin, historically one of the teams to allow her through, even when she was at her strongest.
Yeah, they just don't really care about going up against the Cassio, but right now...
man. I think they want to go for a flash,
yeah, going to get in there, but Chovy turns around at exactly the right time. Keen did land the ultimate, but Chovy gets enough health back with the self-ult and has to just invest the flash. I don't know how he managed to turn in time, but he did.
Probably going to see another quick replay of it, and that's really thin timing. If that stun ends up landing, Chovy's going to go down. UCal is going to be able to convert that into at least a plate, and the whole lane turns on its head, where Lissandra can never walk up to a wave again.
Yeah. I mean, UCal was already taking a lot of control in this lane, and that would have really been one of those nails in the coffin that we saw in game number 1 that Griffin were able to pull off on that top side. They recognized that the Jace was going to have priority. They did something about it early. Felt like Afreeca Freecs were trying to go for a similar play, but unfortunately, Chovy just too fast with those reactions.
And now Spirit going to be handing over the blue to UCal here.
Yep, and Vision being swept out here by the Yorick. He comes in with his own control ward. There are a couple here on the top side, and Afreeca Freecs are prioritizing top side Vision, leaving this bottom lane on a bit of an island.
Yeah, and Chovy elected not to use his teleport to return to lane, so he is at about half mana, and his blue is still ways away. This is actually the opportunity for UCal to try to get mid lane priority, and during the blue buff handoff, try to make a rotation up to top lane, because Ocean Drake is the first one on the map. So regardless of if Viper and Lehens have priority, and maybe Chovy Tarzan would look to make a 4-man bottom, you can, on the flip side, try to prioritize top lane, put Yorick in the ground, and get plates there.
Yeah.
See if they end up doing it with Spirit. But if I've been watching some of the games lately, I know all too well not to expect that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't put money on it.
No? All right.
We're in Korea as well, so it's a little bit more difficult to put money on things just in general. As our sword's going to come up, as you can see, we've got a bit of a visual bug here, as his ultimate is not a question mark. It is, in fact, the Maiden, so we know that it exists. It's fine. As Viper
That's so weird.
Windwall for a bit
where
of
did they
extra
get
value.
that?
I think it's
graphic.
since the patch, and since you now have 2 different icons, it gets a little bit confusing in the spectator client, I believe. I believe that one. See, now that it's on cooldown, so
nope.
It was available?
No, it wasn't.
No? Okay, that was never a thing.
That was never a thing. I think that we're leaking a new champion. That was like a, who's that Pokemon?
All right. You would have thought that Silas would have got that bug first, you know?
Yeah,
Since,
that actually would have been interesting.
The button changes to about anything possible. Oh, man.
Imagine having a champion that presses R and it rolls a random ultimate. That'd be pretty cool.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Or a champion that you just roll random Qs.
We should rework Twisted Fate, you know? Make it a full Gambit type vibe, you know?
That would be really good.
Yeah, think
a
about
gambling
that one.
champion.
Yeah. You have to just sit there doing slots in mid lane or something like that, throwing cards at people. Doesn't sound too bad to me. Although I'm not exactly a huge fan of gambling. Just losing money for no reason sounds like a bad move to me, but Ocean Drake going to be started up here by Griffin. They will be able to lock that one down very easily, as well as Spirit coming on over, but I don't think he's going to get here in time, and that is the Smite Fingers on point for Tarzan. Now down by 100 gold, but Griffin have been down by much larger numbers than this, and no one's been worried in the past.
And one thing to note about the Ocean Drake is that for both of these teams, it's almost useless. You can make the argument that it's a little bit more beneficial for the Ezreal and the Cassiopeia, but both of these teams, they want to go in one fell swoop. They want a wombo combo and get all their spells off, have this bloodbath of a fight. They're not interested in the effects of the Ocean Drake. And, I mean, some of the champions, they don't really need it to sustain inside of the lane, and it's not how the laning phases conduct themselves. And so for the most part, all the dragon ends up doing is forcing another one to spawn, and that's the really big key one. That's the Infernal Drake. Both of these teams really want that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that I'm getting frightened about if you're an Afreeca Freecs fan is the fact that Griffin will also have that dragon spawn almost exactly when they want to fight. You mentioned the fact that this team has such incredible one-item power spikes. Well, Viper's going to be going for the Phantom Dancer, meaning that one-item power spike got even better for the Yasuo. One of the reasons why we've been seeing it picked so much more often, but you'll have Trinity Force in for Sword. Don't need to talk about that. Warrior Enchant, pretty ridiculous. Chovy's even going to have the Proto Belt online. And just the way these champions work together, they want to get you in the river and throw buttons at you. That's exactly what they want to do. And they will have that opportunity as that Infernal Drake starts up, or they won't, and they'll just get a free Infernal Drake.
And so this is actually a little bit unfortunate for Afreeca, especially because Griffin are going to be the ones that are going to be able to maintain priority until that dragon ends up spawning. And so it's quite an unfortunate RNG predicament that I'm sure they are loving the change to dragons about.
Yeah. Well, aiming as well, I mean, he's very far behind in where his build is situated. Does have the quest completed, so can now start farming, start harassing, but this is where you start making bank, not where you start getting payoff.
Right.
So we'll see whether aiming can catch back up in that farm department now with just a Sheen in his back pocket. A bit of a blast going over there from Spirit, but isn't going to be able to affect anything here on the top side. Sword still with his flash in hand.
Spirit is ahead in levels, and I think that, well, he is in close proximity to the Herald, but yeah, okay.
Well, here's the bottom lane. Paranoia immediately goes down, and aiming is going to be soon to follow. Jelly underneath the turret gets taunted. He's got a big door there, and thankfully has a stopwatch, but look at the Hens. Just hanging out under the turret, tanks it up forever. Tarzan going to pick up the aggro in the end, but still has 100 gold to deal with. Some turret plates fall in the mid lane, but that's all Afreeca Freecs are able to get back.
Yeah, and this is an excellent play, and it comes at a really good timing. And Spirit elected to go mid lane with UCal to try to pick up some plates rather than trying to solo the Herald and let UCal try to get the plates on his own. And so in doing so, Griffin is making out huge with how this game has turned out. Winwall end up missing on the Ezreal ult. That's okay. Lehens press W.
Also isn't going to be too worried about that one either as Tarzan moves on over. Spirit underneath this turret as well is going to get a little bit more of a donation of gold as some more plates are going to fall mid lane. The answer on the bottom side of the map is also scary. Sword going to be taking some turret plates on top side, and I just feel like taking these map trades against Griffin almost never gets you a win. It's so hard to out macro this team because they just seem to be able to take more than you almost every single time. I told a lie, by the way. Phantom Dancer was not the choice from Viper. He goes for the new and improved Static Shiv, meaning that he wants to grab the Sterix gauge instead of the Phantom Dancer for the Lifeline passive of choice.
And just take a look at what's happening here. It's a very easy rotation down to the bottom side for Chovy and Tarzan as Spirit was on the left-hand side of the map. And there's just nothing that they can actually do to respond to this. And it was very cookie cutter.
Yeah.
4-man onto the bottom lane. And right now, Griffin, 45 seconds almost until that Infernal Drake comes up. And
when these
realistically,
plays happen, I feel like it's almost scary how, like you say, cookie cutter or planned, it feels like there's almost no way for you to counter it. Like, what do you do against this Griffin squad when they seem to be just on demand winning a game? Well, I don't know, LS. It's frightening. It's frightening.
Plates have now fallen. Nocturne recalling 20 seconds until the Dragon. You can see Cassiopeia, Braum, and Sejuani maybe looking to get some vision control. This would be an awful timing for UCal to recall. It doesn't really matter if he has an item, but...
Well, Luden's Echo completed, I guess, is an item timing, but 5 seconds for the Snake Lady to make her way towards that Dragon Pit, like you say. There's a little bit of a rough run. The rest of the team is around here, and he was matching a back timing from Chovy as well, whose Proto Belt is now online. The only question mark we have is Sword, not quite having his Trinity Force built up because he just hasn't been back to base in a while.
And so here's what ends up happening is Cassiopeia gets back into the lane, but she's behind on priority.
Yeah.
And so even though you have the Luden's Echo, this is a battle of vision, and it's about priority and being able to restrict access. Now, fortunately for UCal, you can see the teammates are
Paranoia
here,
going to dive on forward. Got Hero's Entrance just to try and break off this fight, and Chovy gets in there with a huge Ring of Frost, but no one's fallen down just yet, and Afreeca are still very comfortable. Lehens waiting for the taunt opportunity to get in there. Viper trying to take some aggro here for his team as Chovy very, very low. Tagged by the Winter's Bite. He'll be the first one to go down. As now Viper dives into the backline. They get the knock up and take down the Snake Lady. It's a trade of mid laners as Griffin are going to walk away, but that was very close. That
was extremely close, and meanwhile, up in the top lane, they were having a small little battle. Where
and actually, the teleport going to get cancelled there by Keen, so Sword was able to stop him. Not sure how he cancelled that one.
Can you displace them with the Yorick Wall? Caster, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I think maybe you can.
Can you?
I hadn't actually thought about it, because I wouldn't have otherwise assumed that you could actually do anything to get anyone out of it. I thought that wouldn't even interrupt, but...
Yeah, it would be definitely interesting, but nonetheless, I mean, Yorick...
I mean, the answer is the Urgot's still alive with a teleport on cooldown on the top side of the map. So.
Yeah. So we're taking another look at this, and it actually looked like it was going to start off a little bit rough for Griffin, and it looked like Afreeca was turning it, but then you can see UCal making a little bit of a mistake there, not min-maxing his damage. He flashes forward for the Miasma, ends up getting the kill onto Chovy, but in doing so, gets locked up by Yasuo. And
that was actually really cute from Viper as well. He was keeping aiming tied up, as now we're going to be jumping back into live with another battle happening as Afreeca take control of this Infernal Drake. The claw comes in. Chovy wants to get over there. Spirit locks it down, but is the team fight going to go to Griffin is the question. And there's the double last breath. Instant double kill for Viper, who flashes his way out, but is still going to be taken. Spirit is going to fall as Tarzan gets that kill, and Griffin walk away with all the kills, but they don't get the Dragon.
Paranoia is still up for Tarzan, so aiming has to be really careful with his arcane shift. If he tries to use it offensively, he can just get whack-a-moled.
Yeah, if he presses that button, he's going to be in trouble.
Man, you're done.
There it is. Paranoia comes down instantly. LS called it, and aiming walked straight in.
Yeah, he. I guess his aim wasn't quite on point right there.
No,
with
he was
his
still
decision.
aiming. Yeah. He was still aiming. He wasn't actually doing anything yet. That's the problem. He needs to change his name to Shooting.
Yeah, he just got...
Stop aiming, dude.
Shooting Star, gone in an instant.
Yeah.
But now Griffin, even though they gave up the Infernal Drake, they got a lot of gold swing going their way, and they're going to need to use that in the next couple of minutes here. We'll take another quick look at this. You can see Chovy tries to go in, but there's no real way to get the steal here onto the Dragon, and it is just such a cluster in front of this Dragon pit where Griffin, all their members are just getting AoE, Spirit Flashes, Clown Bops Viper right on the head to try to bring him down right at the end there, and then Aiming getting a little bit frustrated with himself, trying to tell them that, you know, all right, well, he wasn't trying to tell them anything. He gets shut up by that gargoyle in the shadow real quick.
Yeah, sent to the Shadow Realm, I think is what happened just there, and I was just aiming, missing some skill shots, and then using his ability that he needed to not use, and dying. It's basically how it worked. 7 kills to 2 is going to be the scoreline now, as approximately 3,000 gold is the lead for Griffin. And Viper's just stabbing minions all over this map. I mean, you got 2 items in for Tarzan. You got close to Asterix Gauge. Coming in for Viper, who wants to be building the Infinity Edge as item number 3, and we'll have that one relatively quickly. 2-item spike for Aiming is in on the Ezreal, but that's not really something that we're going to be talking about because Sword's got the Trinity Force. He's even got the Raptor Cloak as well. Will we be seeing the ZZ Rot Portal coming in for the Yorick? Probably not. People like to sit on a Raptor Cloak for ages.
Tell me it's not Zerat Portal.
it is Zerat Portal. I was just saying it.
You know,
we're building our cast synergy, remember?
Before the cast. Yep. I actually thought it was ZZ Rot. No. That's what I've always, I thought, like, I think of, I don't know, ZZ Rot.
Yeah.
You know, I see it.
It's like ZZ Top, you know, as we're going to have a team fight to save us from this conversation. It's just Griffin destroying the Afreeca Freecs. That's when you press all your R buttons at the right times, LS. Things just work out for Griffin.
Yeah. And, you know, those little Yorick minions, I'm so sorry to interrupt there.
The little ghouls?
Reminds me of, what is it, the Gnome World in WoW? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, Gadget Zan.
Yeah, Gadget Zan. That's what I just thought of when I'm seeing that.
Yeah, no, they look like little leper gnomes.
Yeah, they do.
Maybe that's what they are.
Maybe Yorick's a leper gnome.
Maybe. He's a pretty big one.
I mean, he likes to smork.
He does.
So that could be a thing.
He's tied at the moment as the exhaust comes down, but that's a great flash to get out of the Arctic Assault as Keen really wants this kill, but they're just not going to get it. The rest of Griffin putting the pressure on elsewhere. They're going to look for some backs. We'll see whether they're going to head towards this Baron buff that has just spawned 20 minutes into this game. But at the moment, I mean, this game feels like it's once again even in a worse situation for the Afreeca Freecs than last time.
Yeah, take a look at this. I mean, they're using the Herald as a way to say, hey, we're going to take this Herald, but if you want to stop us, by all means, we'll just bring the fight to you.
That was without a last breath there as well.
They don't realize how far behind they are. I think that they're thinking that their Infernal Drake is overcompensating for their lack of ability in this game, but nonetheless, I mean, if you want to know just what Griffin's mindset is right now, look no further than the first item Guardian Angel after the Warrior Enchant for Tarzan.
Yeah.
They know our team composition is on a little bit of a clock. Yes, we have a late game Yasuo that can do stuff. Yes, Yorick does become a menace in the later stages, but we don't want to let the Ezreal and the Cassiopeia combined with the Infernal Drake just scale infinitely. We're going to take the action right now. We have Yasuo to threaten early Barons due to the invulnerability that his Wind Wall can grant when trying to capture it. They just want to make fireworks go off all the time. And Afreeca's job is to control the vision, go to 4 blue trinkets, deny Baron attempts. You have an Ocean Drake coming up in 15. Give that over to Griffin. It doesn't do anything for their team composition. Sit back, relax, stop pushing up waves. Where are you going? I don't know. I don't think Afreeca knows either, so I'm handing it back over to you.
Well, I mean, Trovy's just up here pushing waves in over and over again. They've got a lot of vision around where this Baron is. Thankfully, if you're an Afreeca fan, they do have vision in that Baron pit. So this Ocean Drake going down, Griffin will grab their second one of the game. Would have liked that one to be an Infernal Drake, but that's not going to happen. That's going to be the next one. We're alternating. They're going Water, Fire, Water, Fire. See whether Afreeca can actually fight for that one, because I have a feeling that it's not going to be that 50-50 opportunity for Afreeca Freecs like it was the first time around. Ooh. You've just got to think about win conditions and what these compositions are good at, and Griffin likes to go to an objective, like a Baron, like a Dragon, and fight around it.
And they
right?
say,
That's
hey,
what their comp does really, really well.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Now setting themselves up towards the Baron as Lehens does find his opportunity now as it's the Sejuani that's in trouble, but the backline immediately dove on as Tarzan very, very low. It's Viper that grabs that first kill. Lehens setting up for another taunt, but that's just creating space, and they get rid of the Cassiopeia, and they lose no one.
And in doing so, they get the pick off on a pretty key target. I'm surprised to see that they're not just trying to threaten Baron. Some people might say, well, hey, they don't have a lot of summoner spells available, or not summoner spells, but ultimates available to do that. Instead, they're just going to summon the Rift Herald, maybe look to try to capture the luxury top tier 2 turret for some economic bolstering.
Yep, they are going to be able to do that relatively easily. Of course, playing around Yorick, having priority on the bottom side of the map as well, being able to freely push up. Feels pretty good for Griffin, so they're not wanting to make too many over-aggressive plays where just passively they're winning the game. So I do like it. It's slightly more reserved play coming in here, but the Maiden is going to get taken out. Freecs haven't had a kill in a while, and that feels like probably the closest to getting a good thing happening that they can get at this point. 8,000 gold is going to be the lead at 23.5 minutes in. And it's just a game that has fallen away from Afreeca Freecs very, very quickly. It's like one skirmish happens and then a composition like this, how do you get back in here against Griffin? You want to be sieging against this comp. You want to be trying to fight them in situations where things are going to get hard, but instead they're fighting in the jungle and things like this happen.
Yeah, the failed flash certainly doesn't help out at all, and Ezreal, he got knocked up right there, but it didn't really matter, and it was just all too easy for Griffin to collapse upon that team of Afreeca inside of that narrow corridor. And right now, Afreeca, they don't have the ability to contest them yet. They're still waiting on Ezreal's next tier item. They're waiting on the Liandry's Torment. They're waiting on the Locket of the Iron Solari, on Sejuani. They're still trying to scale. They have 2.5 minutes until the next Infernal. Like I said earlier, swap to 4 blue trinkets if you have to. Keep defending right in front of your turrets. Never leave your base if you don't have to. Give up all sort of vision. It's not going to matter. Let your Infernals try to scale. The problem is that Griffin's almost 9,000 gold ahead, so, you know.
Yeah. It's getting to the point where Griffin just comes in and beats them with their wallet, and Afreeca has to fall over. And you can't win a game by sitting in your fountain and hoping that things are going to be okay. Strishop Barrage is going to scout the Baron that's already been started here by Griffin, and what are the opportunities here? Spirit is going to take point. Jelly setting himself up as well, and do we get the turn? Chovy setting himself up, does have an opportunity for a flank, but now Griffin are keeping Afreeca Freecs interested, keeping them hopeful as Tarzan relatively low as Lehens has to go golden. Paranoia comes forward as well as Tarzan relatively low from the Baron fight. Knockups coming in here as Chovy has locked up Yukal, and Yukal not even going to find the petrifying gaze. Q not going to hit there from Chovy, but finds the second one. Now Spirit in trouble. Hero's entrance not going to get a knockup as Viper just comes in and stabs the piggy to death. Lehens doesn't care about his health bar. He's happy to die, always has been, and that's the double kill coming in for Tarzan. I don't know how he paranoias into a team with no health and still has his GA at the end.
Well, Griffin, they're definitely going to be able to secure themselves the Baron, I think, here, but they seem actually a little bit afraid because Keen swapped to Smite, but there should have been no way for him to even dare approach that pit.
Well, right now, headed on over.
Yeah, they're just recalling. I think that Griffin's actually content to just go to the Infernal, and as weird as it sounds, I think this ends up being a weird win for Afreeca. And I'm going to explain why in a second, but we'll take a quick look at this team fight, and you can see Aiming almost able to finish off Tarzan, get his Guardian Angel, and take down Lehens with him. Spirit just managed to skate the way as Chovy put an end to Yukal right there, Aiming being forced to flash out of the grand entrance from Lehens, and then he's brought down shortly thereafter. Tarzan managing to save his Guardian Angel, but even though that's a 4 for 0 on that side of the map, down in bottom, Keen ended up getting a kill onto Sword, and Griffin didn't achieve anything too big. And so the goal deficit remains about the same. The one thing now, though, is that Afreeca, I think they want to try to trade Infernal for Baron, and they can do that. That would certainly be a very big win.
All
okay,
right,
now
so
we get our answer.
Yep.
Nice.
So Sword took a couple of turret shots and then tries to teleport himself. And
anything you can do, I can do better.
Yeah, exactly. The Disdain comes in and Fear Beyond Death is going to be able to grab that kill. So we've got another fight immediately starting here as the Paranoia. Going to be thrown down early. I don't know whether he can follow as there's the last breath. Viper goes golden in the end. The activation is right in the nick of time from Tarzan as he's going to join his friends. And now Afreeca are scattered. The bottom lane is dead. And now Griffin should be able to turn, grab a Baron, or just walk into the base of Griffin and win. Sorry, the base of Afreeca and win.
Griffin can't walk into their own base and win. That would
yeah, I mean, they almost can. It's almost like what Afreeca have been letting them do so far, as the Maiden's probably going to get enough work done on these turrets. Pushes her way forward.
As soon as they spawn, they win. That's what's going on here.
That's what feels like what happens, unless you've got Sandbox there getting all the priority picks. The only game that they've lost so far this season is Griffin turn off the Baron. Lahens is looking for an opportunity, still very high health. There's the knock-up, gets the taunt as well. Spirit going to be the first one to die as Viper grabs that kill, and then Yukel knocked up, stabbed to death. Double kill for the Yasuo, and Lahens, he's just everywhere, locking everyone up. And Keen just desperately wants to find a kill, but Lahens stays there, throws down the winds of war. The knock-up comes forward, Chovy gets the kill. And now, Lahens, oh no, it just doesn't do any damage. We're used to Ezreal's doing damage with that ability. Aiming doesn't. And now the Baron is surely going to get taken down. In the meantime, the Maiden was set to work on the top side of the map and does get an inhibitor turret. So Griffin going back.
Sixth player.
Yep, exactly. So she gets called back to do the Baron, but otherwise she was hanging out over there.
And we'll take a look at what Afreeca was trying to accomplish. They were trying to go for a trade on the Baron for the Infernal Drake. It just doesn't matter. The gold advantage for Griffin is just way too high at this current point, and Afreeca's positioning as this fight ends up breaking out is super bad. I'm trying to think of, I'm trying to be politically correct. I'm bringing myself in line.
I like the idea, right? I mean, do it while the jungler is trying to take a dragon, but unfortunately the jungler has a global ultimate and can use it to jump on a priority target as a Nocturne 7-0 and 7, who's gonna do some damage, guys.
Well, Afreeca thought that they were gonna be able to burst that
he's in the baby cage.
Oh, that's adorable.
So sad.
But it looks like he was actually.
Baby cage.
Someone needs to put Urgot on a diet. He was a
bit fat for it, wasn't he? Yeah.
Looking like a little Porky Pig, Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall.
Well, I mean, he must be on a diet. He's not eaten very much today.
Oh man.
Oh dear. Well, he's got one kill on the Sword. That was the only good news story, but it feels a little bit like Keen's and Elo Hell at this point. He's been creating some things, but there we go! From AA Troxes to ZZ Rots, we finally got it. So it picks up the ZZ Rot portal.
I love it.
Beautiful. Beautiful
Absolutely
stuff.
Magnificent. Out of Griffin here. In game number 2.
I hope they're not Griffin. You wouldn't do that if you're this far ahead. That doesn't seem right. Is the Maiden just going to soak that True Shot Barrage like it was nothing? And Viper and Chovy get to work on the inhibitor turret on the bottom side of the map. Sword on top, and you've got a 1-2-2 where Griffin are just taking everything that they want. 15,000 gold is the lead, and this might be the last team fight in this game. Hero's entrance comes down. It's a good knock-up onto Keen, but they don't need to use last breaths on that. You've got Viper setting them up for himself as aiming in trouble. Inhibitors will now fall down as all of the kills that Griffin could ever want are happening. And now this Ezreal is looking like he doesn't need any nerfs whatsoever. Definitely a balanced champion now. As Afreeca Freecs with only aiming and spirit, watch their Nexus get 3 hit by this Griffin squad, who are not getting routed today. Definitely not by the Afreeca Freecs.
Well, I mean, the score was 3-23, so I mean, it's pretty close. 3 and 2 and 3 are pretty close numbers.
Yeah, I mean,
you're trying to count.
I think there's a 3 in 23.
There's a 3 in 23.
They've got something in common
than that, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
so,
there we go.
I mean, at least they got that going for them. But
oh man, there's not a whole lot more going for them though. And unfortunately, I mean, we didn't see Dread today.
Yeah.
And it seems like the Afreeca Freecs can't really play in a coordinated fashion without having Spirit on the roster. But I would have liked to have more of that early game aggression that Dread can offer with some of his other picks.
Yeah.
Seeing the Sejuani come in, seeing the Skarner is like, what meta are we actually playing in LS?
Well, I mean, it's a pretty interesting meta, but it is the 1 week meta.
Yeah,
so we'll
that's
have
true.
to see what ends up.